boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about evaluating expressions. Okay, I've already given you the definition of what an expression was. I told you that an expression, there was two types. There's numerical and algebraic. We're going to be focusing on algebraic. Algebraic expression contains a variable, one or more variables actually, and it also could contain operations like multiplication, division, subtraction, what have you. Okay, so at first we're going to talk about solving an expression when we're given one of the values. Okay, for example, x minus 9. Okay, that's an expression. I got a variable, I have a constant, we learned that term as well, and I have an operation. Now, I want to solve this when x equals 15. All right, so I simply just take the 15, plug it in for the x, and do my simplification. 15 minus 9 is 6. We have 4 times the difference between x and 4, okay? And we want to solve this when x equals 7. So what we do is we simply plug in 7 for x. We rewrite it. 4 times 7 minus 4. So according to PEMDAS, we do what's inside the parentheses first. 7 minus 4 is 3. When I have a number next to a set of parentheses and there's no symbol in between, what do? That's right, I multiply. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 is my final answer. Okay, in this next example, I have 16 divided by n, or 16 over n, but we talked about it in class. We know that this means to divide now. When n equals 8, so we take the 8, we substitute it in for the n. 16 divided by 8, and now we solve. What is 16 divided by 8? Well, if you're not familiar with doing it like this, you can say 16 divided by 8. 8 won't go into 1 individually, but 8 will go into 16 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. We subtract, we get 0. That means we have no remainder. It goes in evenly 2 times. Okay, in this particular example, we have 3 variables, no numbers. But we are told that y equals 3, w equals 6, and x equals 5. So what you have to do is you have to find the corresponding variables and plug in those values. So I'm looking for w, right there. W equals 6. So I say 6 minus, where's x? X is right here, 5, plus y, which is 3. All right, now I just follow PEMDAS. I go from left to right. 6 minus 5 is 1, plus 3 is 4, and 4 is my final answer. Okay. So in this example, we're going to be given an equation, okay? And here it says the expression 1.8 times c plus 32 gives a temperature in degrees Fahrenheit for a given temperature in Celsius. That may be confusing, but I'll show you here in a second. So our job is to find the temperature in Fahrenheit that is equivalent to 30 degrees Celsius. Okay, so here we use the equation 1.8 times c plus 32, and that is a plus symbol. All right, and then we're told that the temperature in Celsius is 30 degrees. So now we got our formula, we got everything in there. We just use PEMDAS and solve it. I got 1.8 times 30. All right, 1.8 times 30 is 54. Plus 32. We continue with PEMDAS. 54 plus 32 is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Okay, here's another expression right here where we are going to be filling in some values. It says the expression 6 times x to the second power gives you the surface area of a cube. And the expression x to the third, or x raised to the third power, or x cubed, gives you the volume of a cube. All right? And that's when x is the length of the side of the cube, one side. Okay, now what you have to remember with the cube is that all the sides of the cube have the same length. That's why we call it a cube. Otherwise, it would be a rectangular something or other. All right, so if they're all the same length, so we need to find the surface area and the volume of a cube when one side length is 2 meters. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. For the volume, all right, we have x to the third power. And we said that our side length, I'll just call it SL, equals 2. Really what we're going to call that is x. Okay, so we have 2 to the third power is going to give us our volume. So this means 2 times 2 times 2. This is not 2 times 3. Please remember this. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Okay? 8 meters, not squared, but cubed. 8 meters cubed is our volume for the cube. All right? Now, surface area. Surface area is the area of all the flat surfaces of the cube. Area of all the flat surfaces of the cube, and that's represented by 6 times x 6 times x squared. 6 times x squared is going to be our surface area, because basically what you have, let me see if I can draw this, and it's not the perfect cube, but you have essentially 6 sides. Okay, you got the front, the back, the top, the bottom, and the left and right side. Each side has a side length of 2. Okay, so we find the area of one side, all right, and then we multiply it by 6 because there's 6 sides. All right, and that's where we get that equation, that expression from. So once again, our side length is 2. So we say 6 times 2 to the second power. First thing we have to do is our exponent. 2 to the second power is actually 2 times 2. So that 2 times 2 is 4. And then we multiply it by the number of sides, because that's the area of one side. We want the area of all 6. 6 times 4 is 24 meters squared. And that would give us a surface area of that entire cube. All right, now I want to talk about some real world problems doing basically the same thing. All right, we're given some information and we have to solve it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is this problem right here. It says the table shows the prices for games in Bella's soccer league. All right, her parents and her grandmother want to attend one of the games. How much did they spend if they all went in one car? All right, so first thing you have to do is you have to look at this table here, because that's what it was talking about. All right, so you see that the student ticket was $6. A non-student ticket, which would be Bella's parents and her grandmother, they're $12 each. And then parking for one car is $5. All right, so now we just have to figure out how to set up the problem and how to solve it. Okay, so since just Bella's parents and grandmother are going, we have 3 adults. They're all non-students. Bella's playing in the soccer game. And then we have the one car. So we have to set up the equation. So we don't really have to worry about the 6, but we do have to worry about the 12 and the 5. All right? So if it's $12 for some number of guests that aren't students, we'll figure that out in a minute, plus the $5 fee for the car. All right, so what we have to do is plug in our numbers. We have 3 adults. Okay, we have mom and dad, and we have grandmother. So we have 12 times 3 plus 5. 12 times 3 is 36, plus 5 is 41. So it cost $41 for those 3 people to go to the soccer league game.